Many tools are used to keep roadways safe and free of snow and ice during the winter months. Salt spreaders are critical to these operations, but only if they are properly calibrated. Applying the correct amount of salt on the roadways is crucial. Too much salt causes unnecessary environmental impacts, is costly, and can lead to salt inventory shortages. Too little salt will not be effective in clearing the roadways. To address these issues, it is important that the spreader be properly calibrated for all materials, including liquid and granular materials. This video shows how to validate and calibrate salt spreaders used by the Iowa DOT. Iowa DOT uses 3 kinds of granular materials: salt, sand, and a mixture of salt and sand. Each kind of granular material needs to be calibrated as they are applied differently. There are 2 major steps in ensuring proper granular material calibration. The first is to validate that the spreader is properly calibrated. The second is to adjust the calibration if the validation indicates it is necessary. To ensure the correct rate of salt application, spreaders should be calibrated at the beginning of the season, anytime you notice a problem with the device or salt usage, or anytime the hydraulic system or spreader system undergoes a replacement or repair. This includes changes to chain tensioners, gears, augers, or any part of the spreader system. To calibrate the spreaders, you will need the plow truck, a large bin scale, a loader, material for calibration, and at least 2 operators, the driver and a spotter. Before starting the plow truck, remove the chain guard. Check the chain tension, oil the chain, and the bearings. Examine the truck hydraulics for any leaks or damage. If you see any issues, report them to your shop mechanic before proceeding. Also, if you intend on using a choker plate, sometimes called a salt plate, for the material being calibrated, it must be installed at this time. Conversely, if no choker plate is used for the material, it must be taken off. The system should be configured as it is normally used during a storm with a specific material. Before loading the plow with material, run the truck for at least 10 minutes to let the hydraulics warm up. During this time, turn on the augers and let them run for at least 10 minutes. Watch for inconsistent revolution in the auger, as that can indicate a problem. If you see any issues, report them to your shop mechanic before proceeding. Use a bucket loader to load a few tons of material in the plow truck. A full truckload is not necessary. You only need enough material to cover the auger throughout the process. Tilt the box so that the material moves to the back toward the auger. Then lower the box back into place. The calibration process is controlled by a device located in the truck cab. This may be an LCD screen or a touch screen. Each model is slightly different, but the general steps are the same. For detailed steps, check the salt spreader calibration instructions located in your truck. To begin, purge the augers. Scroll through the options on the main menu. Select Test Mode to begin purging. This ensures there are no dead revolutions or revolutions with no material before validation begins. Stop purging the augers when there are no more dead revolutions, using a spotter as needed. Make sure the yard is clear of obstacles, then place the scale underneath the left auger of the truck. Use a spotter to help align the scale to ensure all the material will be captured in the scale. Return to the main menu by pressing Menu on the switch panel. Select Automatic Mode. Select the type of material you are calibrating for, in this case, salt. It is very important that you repeat all the calibration steps for each material you use, including salt, 50-50 mix, and sand. Using the same calibration numbers for all materials will not work. Return to the main menu and select Diagnostics, followed by Calibration Validation, sometimes abbreviated as Cal Validation or CalVal. The screen will then display the test parameters. Set the cruise control for 1500 RPM, The standard operating speed of the plow. Have a spotter at the back of the truck monitoring the auger and scale. The spotter should zero the scale before the test begins. Once the spotter monitoring the augers gives the OK, begin the validation test. Material should immediately begin pouring out of the augers onto the scale. The material will flow for about 2 minutes, dispensing around 100 pounds of salt before stopping automatically. After it is stopped, record the weight shown on the scale. If the weight is between 98 and 102 pounds, the spreader is properly calibrated, and this part of the process is complete. If the weight of the salt is not in this range, the dispense rate must be adjusted. Calibrating the salt spreader requires a password. Before beginning the process, work with your shop supervisor and mechanic for access. To adjust the rate at which material is dispensed, return to the main menu. Enter Configuration Mode. The screen will prompt you to enter the password. After the password has been entered, the display should show the Configuration menu. Select Materials, then Granular, then the proper material type, in this case, salt. Scroll down the menu until you see a pulses pound setting. This is the current rate at which the material is dispensed. Select Pulses Pound on LCD screen models or Trim on touchscreen models. Select Weigh Material Dispensed. Read and accept the information on the screen. Once again, set the cruise control at the standard operating speed. The spotter monitoring the dispensing process must zero the scale. Once the spotter monitoring the augers gives the OK, begin the calibration process. Material should immediately begin pouring out of the augers into the scale. Continue until approximately 500 pounds of material has been delivered to the scale. During this time, the driver should monitor the bed camera to make sure the salt is completely covering the auger throughout the process. When enough material has been dispensed, the spotter should signal the driver to stop dispensing material. After the salt stops, record the weight of the salt dispersed. Enter the weight of material dispersed. The device will automatically calculate a new pulse rate. Write this number down so that it can be saved in the shop's records. The machine should now be calibrated. To verify that the material is being dispensed at the correct rate, repeat the steps in calibration validation and make sure that the weight dispensed is between 98 and 102 pounds. If it is not, contact your shop mechanic or supervisor. Remember, you have to repeat this entire process for salt, 50-50 mix, and sand. Now that the granular calibration is complete, the next step is to verify that the correct flow meter tag info is entered into the anti-ice and pre-wet screens. The first step for liquid verification is to record the calibration number from the flow meter. This number can be found on the flow meter tag. The location of the flow meter is different for each truck. In this case, it is underneath the truck box. The number shown here for the pre-wet flow meter is 720. If your truck is equipped with both pre-wet and anti-ice material, there will be a different flow meter for each. Make sure that the flow meter you are looking at is connected to the tank of material you are currently calibrating for. Divide the flow meter number by 10. For example, if the tag reads 720, the value you will enter will be 72. Enter the configuration screen from the main menu. The screen will prompt you for the password. Select Trim Cal from the menu, then select Pre-Wet. Scroll to Pulses per gallon, then enter the value you calculated from the flow meter, in this example, 72. Repeat this process, this time choosing anti-ice instead of pre-wet, and entering the value calculated from the anti-ice flow meter. Press Pass or Save to make sure the value is saved. Once the calibrations and validations have been completed, the final step is to clear the season totals from the Spread Smart Controller. Caution: this must be accomplished prior to the start of the winter season. Do not clear the season totals at any time during the winter season. From the main menu, select Storm Season Totals. Then Season Totals. Select Reset Season Totals. The screen will display a confirmation prompt. Select Yes. Enter the password when prompted. This will clear the season totals. You have now successfully validated and calibrated the salt spreader on your plow truck and are now ready to fight the snow and ice and provide safe conditions for Iowa drivers.